Let's bring it to life. Shanette W. Johnson, speaking truth on the mind. For the hurting, for the healing, for the ones unheard. She gives the voiceless power through every word. Justice and purpose, changing the room, breaking the silence, making hope bloom. First and third Mondays, come sit for a while. Truth with strength and a steady smile. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Shanette on the mic, and the truth stays solid. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Voices rise here, and the pain gets heard. Stories of courage, trauma to triumph, wrongful conviction. She won't be quiet. Systems divide, but she stands beside. Community rooted, healing inside. Every voice matters, every name can sing. Hope gets louder when the people bring. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Shanette on the mic, and the truth stays solid. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Voices rise here.
Good evening, and thank you for joining another episode of Let's Talking About It. I am your host, Shanette Johnson. I do apologize. We was having a little technical difficulty, but yet and still we're going to push through. We're not going to be on long, but tonight I do have a guest with me. I haven't heard from my brother in a long time. Casey Woodard is here with me on tonight, and we're just gonna just be shooting the breeze this evening. Casey, how are you doing this evening?
I'm blessed and unstressed, for sure. Even being in my circumstance and situation, I don't let it knock me down, and I don't let it bring me down. And I just gotta give all praise to God and keep on lifting me up and building me up into a better individual than I was when I came in here.
That's good. So we was just as I was trying to get everything up and going, we have been talking about your health and some other things. So um since we last talked, have anything changed?
Or how you say, life is license.
Uh,
You navigate your circumstances, situation as they come up, and you still push forward, no matter what you go through in life. You still try to find a path to be able to push through and to grow from whatever that experience is that God is taking you through at that particular moment. And like I said, having gone through last year with the death of my mother, January 11th, and my brother passed of cancer May 15th. It put I went through a point of depression for a second, and I can say that much that when you have someone that is a constance in your life, and the patriarch is my mother, and then seeing the strength of my brother, and then you see uh, like with my mother, you see that she had a stroke and the aneurysm. I mean the blood clot that was in her head debilitated her, and a talking, thriving mother. Then she's not there no more, and then you know it happened on my birthday. That's the crazy part. She went to the hospital on December 28th. I talked to her in the 29th. She had a stroke, and I wasn't able to hear that baby no more. Baby, mama loves you. I always know that. That was the last thing I heard her say on my birthday. And she said, I gotta go to the hospital. I'm not feeling good. And then you know how you get them voices in your head that talking to you. And then
Right.
the voice said, it said, be prepared. It's not going to be the same as it once was. And that's exactly what the voice was saying in my head. And I wasn't thinking about it. I'm like, nah, I'm tripping. And that happened the next day. And just to be in this situation and then still try to be a strength for my sisters, after that. Then my brother going through the cancer. And, the cancer was in his throat. He could barely drink water, anything. And it took him 2 months to succumb to the cancer. And he couldn't even eat. That's without food, barely drinking water. He couldn't drink anything that it wouldn't stay down. So, listening to these things and my sisters being right there with his wife at the particular time and just, hearing that. But I'm here. But the only thing I can be is a voice of comfort for my family and where I'm at, my position, but just to be there, to talk them through it, but I feel like that where I'm at, that it made me just reevaluate my life, my choices, decisions that I made, because I didn't have to do what I did, but I done it because I was selfish, I was prideful, and I was confrontational. And then I look at now, it doesn't seem like it's working because I wasn't there with her and my sisters and my siblings when they was going through that process of family members passing. And then I said that, you give yourself these self-talk and stuff, and then, how can I better my situation from this? What was my thinking during the time that I went through these things? And like I said, you go through these how you having a grown man temper tantrum.
Right.
I had a grown man temper tantrum, and I was in control of myself, and I allowed my inner child to take over the situation. My thinking, my logic, everything got irrational. And when you let the irrational side and you let your emotions dictate the things that you do, it's always gonna come to a failure. But there's growth in the midst of pain. And my mother, it really made me take a transition to want to be different. I don't want to be the same individual that makes the same mistakes and doing this Ferris wheel or being in a hamster wheel of a repeat cycle of the things I've done in my life and not being a grown man, a human being that acts off of logic and not off
Right.
emotion.
So, do you think that God set you down for a reason? Since you said you was have you always been like that, where you never thought stuff through, or as they would say, a hot headed person?
I can say that each incident that I've ever done that caused me to take these unwanted trips, because these are trips you're taking. But doing these trips in prisons that you're taking, there's always lessons that you get behind these things. But you don't get it at a particular time because caught up in prison games, prison activities, mindset. But are you really learning lessons down here? I can say that I'm a little bit different from other individuals because I seek education, I seek to better myself, but all I do with implementation of the life skills that I'm trying to gain from the failures of my walk. Like I said, everybody got faults, and the things that I chose to do, I own up to all that because that's just part of it. Yes, me being hot-headed, I can say that I let things pile up without addressing the actual issues. I let things pile up, and I had no release mechanism towards the stress aspect of it, and the building up of the anger, not dealing with it in a positive light, and that's the growth part of things. And what you say is, I allow my thought process to filter on the things that I've done, and I filtered on those for a while, and then as I'm thinking about it, I set it to the side. But yet, I never addressed the issues, and then it kept piling up where I got in my feelings. And once I got in my feelings about something, the way that I reacted to it, brought on the behavior where, okay, I got out of line,
Right.
I allowed my feelings to get overwhelmed where I never addressed the issue in the first place. I had no positive way to release the things I allowed to build up on me, and then what I call that individual that come out of it, I just be real, I call them berserker man, because or the effort dude, because once you say effort, it's anything goes. It's like, okay, this is what you want. This is what you want to bring out of me. So you bring them out. And how you say when people go to peace mode on stuff, but you allow this person to come out when you feel like that you want to deal with the physical side of the inner turmoil that you had built up from whatever you do. You allow the individuals whom you're around to put that on you to want to release it on them now. Because sometimes it's like people take kindness for weakness.
Right.
And when you're doing things and you're trying to be strong about it, and you're trying to deal with it in an intellectual manner or in a proper way, some people don't relate to that because they take you as being a half-hearted or a pushover.
So you saying that because of course you down in Texas, and we just had that high profile case, Carmelo Anthony, that took place last week, where the young man was sentenced to 35 years into Texas State Prison. Did you follow his case, or do you know somewhat about his case, because you were saying how basically people was poking a bear, and then once you just say they kept poking at you, and then you just like forget it, this is you gonna fist to give them what they wanted. Have you followed his case? That before we get into that.
I followed his case, and I looked at it as well. Collins County, they can say it's not race or anything like that, but the whole district court, the way that they prosecute in that county. If you follow the sentencing guideline of any black that went through that county, you're gonna see that it's always harsh. They're going to get extreme numbers and stuff. It's just what that county does. And it's always, they say race doesn't play a part in everything. It plays a big part in everything. It was a high profile case. They downplayed it to say it wasn't that, but it was that. Skin color is always complex, especially in that part of Texas, especially in that county as it is. And I'm not condoning the violent part of anything that happened. It's a tragedy because they still young men, and both of their families went through some traumatic things with the loss of a son. And then you get a loss of a son forever. You get a loss of a son for a portion of time. He still got a time to rebuild life with his family, but yet it still was racial. You know, no matter how you try to do it, any other man wouldn't go through the things he did. Yes, you punished him for what he did, but you gave him a harsh sentence. You know, without looking at the fact that it edged on with a bigger individual. This individual was bigger than him, you know, and he was racially outnumbered, you know, and that's the point. Texas always gonna try to make it look like it's not that, and then when you got to realize it's the theory that the DAs paint on the individual, and if he want to make you look like a monster, they're gonna make you look like a monster. You know, and that's what they did. They made the young man look like a monster. He had a promising career ahead of him. Had he pursued the right thing. Yeah, it should have been someone to de-escalate the thing. But you got his friend, you got the young white man friends putting him on to do what he was doing to the young black man when it was all behind. It was raining and sharing a spot where he wasn't getting wet. There was nothing like that. You can see that. Segregation. No, I'm not going to let this black guy sit on here with us and all this stuff. Whatever the reason or not. It's still, these are young kids, but somewhere in there, that it was a thing to keep them separated instead of joining together and having camaraderie. If you go to the same school, if y'all go to whatever y'all is, you camaraderie. Schools build camaraderie. It builds a friendship amongst peers.
Right.
Because you're competing together. That's what being an athlete in Texas is about. When you're an athlete and you're competing, it's still gonna be camaraderie. It's gonna be trash talking, but yet still not to the point of what happened there. I hate it happened to the young man.
Right. You know, we all do hate the whole situation around it, and we also know that race did play a big part of it, because if you look at it, I believe it was the year before this happened before this incident, where another student from a different school, same county, different ethnicity, that got unalive. He was Hispanic, and the other one that unalived him was Caucasian. In that instant, that young man only got 10 years. 10 years. Same county. Same. I don't know if it the judge, but it was the same Collin County. So, you know, for people to say that it wasn't race didn't play a factor in it, how can you say just a year ago this young man only got 10 years, and then you had this young black man get 35 years for standing his ground? The other one from that only got 10 years said he wanted to see the young man on life support, and then 2 days later that happened. So how can you say it's not racial motive behind that? You know, I don't like that if the parents are getting like comments sent to them that they glad their son is no longer here. No, we don't say that. We don't say that. We're not calling wishing that the little boy was unalive and all of that stuff, because that's hurtful. As a parent that lost her son, I would have celebrated my son. My son would have celebrated his 34th birthday this past Thursday, and it hurts so bad that he's not here. So I don't, I can only come talk about that on that aspect, how it hurts. And of course, they should have taught their sons to keep your hands to yourself. Go get a teacher. That's what I would have said. Let's go get a teacher and let the adult deal with it, not a student or a student, because you can't tell me what to do. And if you put your hands on me, I'm going to defend you. Now, I'm seeing across the ethnic groups, all ethnic groups as well, the parents failed him. The parents should have taught him to keep his hands to himself, or in other words, that Carmelo should have bowed down. So in this situation, how would you teach your son, or would you teach your son to walk away from stuff, to bow down to another ethnic group, or would you teach them to stand their ground?
In actuality, I talked to my son about things like this, and he had a situation that he dealt with. But I told him, you got to outweigh the consequences of whatever you finna get ready to do on anything that you choose on that matter. Is it worth it? So I have talked through this with my son about what he should do and what he shouldn't do when he is confronted with a situation where someone is like intentionally threatening him or trying to put violence. If you can walk away, leave. That's what I always tell him. Because as long as he ain't putting his hands on you, walk away. Walk away. That's the practice that I practice right now, even being in prison. I don't care what you say. I don't care how you say it. Just don't touch me. So and you got a lot of people that they talk that though. They talk the talk. But I mean, like I said, words can never hurt you. It doesn't make you a less of a man if you walk away, because you never know what circumstances will bring. Because I've seen people have fight with people, and then they end up getting stabbed. It's hitting the head with a fan motor. They hit the person hit his head and he died. It's these scenarios that you don't know what the outcome going to be if you reach that situation and you take it on head on and using violence with violence, and you got a right to defend yourself. The thing is, in prison they tell you they hit you first. They want you to allow the person to hit you or do anything like that, which I'm not gonna never allow nobody to hit me, because I'm not gonna do that. I'm trained in martial arts. I box and hand-to-hand combat. I know how to defend myself, but at the same token, as long as you don't touch me, except lips can say anything, So let him have his moment. It's not that big a thing.
Okay.
It doesn't make you less of a man to walk away.
So that's what we had a question come up. Let me see if I can pull that question up. Wonder, what if your life was at stake? Would if you fear for your life, if you have if it's four people against you and it's no way out, they circle around you, then what? Then what would you do then? What are we teaching our kids just to get jumped or fight their way out of a situation?
I mean, if you got 4 or 5 people trying to do something, the best thing to do is run. I mean, flight. Flight will run you risk. You think you're trying to do that? You can run. I wouldn't, like I always tell my son, if there's too many people, you feel like it's going to be a situation, run. It doesn't make you less than a man to run. But like I said, I was faced with a certain like that with my individual case. My stepson, his friend, approached me at my house. Me and his mother was arguing, and he had a gun. So his friend had guns. So what am I gonna do? I wouldn't got my gun.
I just had to come on. I just got to say something. I got to say something because Carmelo Anthony's case is just not like that. This baby was sitting down. He was on the phone. He was minding his business. He was just getting out of the elements. And these four big burly men, because that's what you would call them. These guys were 6'1", 225 pounds. They walked up to him, surrounded him. At that time, we didn't know he suffered from epilepsy. He just had a shoulder injury, and all of these things was going on. We don't know what was going on in his mind when somebody approached you, and then not only that,
Yeah.
there's evidence that shows that he was attacked. He wasn't just approached; he was attacked. And if they release the footage, and we want them to, if they release the footage, we all can see and we'll all know the truth. But if we teach our kids to walk away, then it ends up happening. Cyrus Belton, he ran away and he got gunned down by Rick Child. And then you talk about another young lady. She got on TikTok to tell her story. She taught her child to walk away. Her child walked away, and he's no longer here. But we can't keep walking away when these people are bullying us and taking advantage of us. And that's what happened to Carmelo. Carmelo is 130 pounds, 5'8". These twins approached him with their two friends, and they threatened him. They wanted to remove him. He has no problem with authority because they was in the dugout earlier. The coach asked them why were they in the dugout and for them to leave the dugout. And what did they do? They left the dugout. So he has no problem with following authority, but you can't approach somebody and make them move. They wanted to move that child, and that was not right. He stood his ground,
Yeah.
and look what happened to him.
But
And
it's
I
the
digress.
environment that he's in anyway. They're still teaching that there with the kids. They're still teaching separation and not to be in joining with other races and stuff in their county. You got to look at this also. This is the thing about when you come into the court system, they're going to paint you as a villain. They always going to look at the color of the individual. They're still going to paint you as being aggressive. They're going to paint you as a threat. They're going to paint you as anything other than being kind, being intellectual. They're going to make you look like a monster. And that's what they made him look like. You're not going to be the same individual. Once the prosecution paint a theory about you, of who they feel like the jury is going to convict you on, because they get to paint this narrative about who they feel like that you are in order to get a conviction. It ain't about doing right or wrong. First thing of the prosecution is supposed to look for everything for both halves. If there's something that's beneficial to prove your innocence, they're supposed to give it to you. They're supposed to help you. They don't do that. There's no justice in the justice system. It's always an injustice when it comes to us. We're not going to get the fair shake. A black man is not going to get the fair shake in the justice system of Texas. It's just how it is. And it's been like that for a long time with a lot of us that got these long, extended sentences that they didn't give us. These harsh punishments they give us. It's never going to be right for us. And that's what they need to do. Got to fix the system to be fair, to be impartial, instead of being racist biased on all the points and all the time when it comes to individuals doing certain things that this young man was put in. You say he was put in a situation where he had to defend himself.
He never had a chance. He never had a chance. It was
You know
a
what I mean?
setup from the beginning. It was a setup from the beginning. It was a straight setup. They coached those kids. They told those kids what to say. They got on the stand and they lied. And then they were caught in lies.
They're going to do that.
They were caught in lies, and they still allowed them to go forth with those lies. Eddie P got on the stand and said he didn't know Carmelo when he was the one that invited Carmelo up under the tent. He was the one over there talking to Carmelo, and then when the defense pulled out all the pictures and showed that they knew each other and been knowing each other for a while. How can y'all go to your grandmama's birthday celebration? I mean, his girlfriend's grandmother's birthday celebration. They at the house together. They out at events together. But you don't know me? And they allowed him to sit on that stand and lie. Those people lied. And they put all of this against that baby. They never gave him a chance to tell his side of the story.
Okay. He's
They never
gonna
gave that baby a chance.
he's gonna call back. Casey is gonna call us back so we can finish this conversation.
He never had a chance. He never had a chance. Everything was set up against him.
And that's
His
just
defense failed him. They failed him. They did not do anything to protect that baby. They did
and
not
that,
even they did not humanize him. They made him. They allowed the prosecution to paint a narrative, to paint a picture, and they never tried to disnounce that.
and that's what Casey was just saying. That's what all of the black men that's in Texas that face that goes into them courtrooms. They paint them to look like monsters. They paint the black men to look like monsters. They do that in every
I'm telling
all
you,
over
people
the
don't
state.
believe. People do not believe that these people got a handbook. They got a handbook. It is known that these people got a handbook that they operate by. And one of the things that that's inside of their handbook is to make sure that there's an all-white jury and that they keep people outside of the court. If you've ever heard Cornell's story, Cornell's story is just like his story. Just like his story. Cornell's story is the exact same thing that Carmelo Anthony is going through. But this time, Carmelo got some people on the outside that's fighting for him. He got the whole nation looking. Cornell them didn't have that. Because when Cornell went to prison, he had the same thing. All white jury. They kept everybody out of the courtroom. When nobody in there but a whole bunch of white people. And the same thing happened to him. And the same thing happened to a lot of these people. They
That
talk about these white juries. And that's what they did.
Same
They
thing.
railroad our babies.
what
And they think it's okay. But we ain't
we
doing that.
have we have KC back, and he said that they did him the same way. They did him the
They did me
same.
like that in the courtroom. Yeah, this is the thing about it. They get you. I had an attorney prior to the attorney that took over my case. The lawyer told me not to talk to nobody, don't say anything. Okay. I tell this other lawyer came to see me. I tell him I got an attorney. He said, that lawyer can't do what they can do what I can do for you in that courtroom. You're not going to see that attorney again. I'm $100,000 lawyer you get for free. The DA that's prosecuting your case, I took that job. The judge that's over your case, she's a personal friend of mine. Nobody can do for you what I can do for you in that courtroom. What he took me in the courtroom, he got me 50 aggravated years. Things that was going on in that courtroom shouldn't have been going on. The man did not do anything for my case. He used the DA files and DA evidence to fight my case. He never brought nothing and he did no type of personal research to fight my case. He was teaching them while they was convicting me how to fight my case. There was things that was going on outside of the jury that they wouldn't let the jury know that my stepson and his friends was gang members. They told me that I could not say nothing about them being gang members. They coached them against me doing that thing. They coached the police officers that prosecuted was against me. They coached them on what to do. Everything that they do, it's like you feel, but you don't understand what's going on. I know this is violating my constitution, right? I know they're doing wrong. And then when he sit there and was telling them on how to do my jury charge, he was showing the DAs that they was doing wrong in the presentations that they was about to give the jury and the jury charges against me. When I start questioning him about it, he made the three of them take me out the courtroom. This is my trial, but you take me out the courtroom when you're preparing my jury charges to reflect something that you want to convict me on, and I'm hearing this from this man, and you don't want me to say nothing about it, so you escort me out while you preparing that. And then when the judge came back interfering with the fact finding of the jury, they wanted to hear testimonies of the witnesses during my trial. but they didn't get to hear the testimony of the witness of my child because she persuaded them to go ahead with the fact finding and don't delay. I can't pull that information out. The court reporter can't pull it out. It's too much she has to go through in order to get it. But don't delay in your findings of the fact because they was conflicted on the testimony of one of the witnesses. Because one of the witnesses that they had, he was also somebody they had charged that I was charged against with shooting him. But he was saying that he was closer. I'm saying he's pussy. He's saying he was further away from me. My neighbor said he was right there in my driveway threatening me with a gun, that he was threatening to shoot me and kill me. And he's telling them, my neighbor, he was MP in the Air Force. He's telling them that I heard him say that I'm going to shoot you, I'm going to kill you. And then that's what they wanted to look at. They wanted to look at the neighbor's testimony and my stepson's friend's testimony. They wanted to look at both of them, but they didn't get to see that testimony. I got found guilty for this, you know. And that testimony will prove that my neighbor and my statement was the exact same thing, you know. But they do that. They don't want the truth to be coming out of anything. They're gonna always paint you as being a monster. They're gonna paint the person that's on trial as a monster. That's the whole thing about it. How can we get the conviction? And you got the whole element of the courtroom against you. If you don't know the law, they're going to use the full gun of the law against you to get the conviction that they want on you. It's not what they want out of there. Yes, that's the tragic thing, but there's no fairness in the courtroom when it comes to us as being the men of color in that courtroom, especially when you got all the right people that's in there against you. You know, how do you fight a system like that? It's not fair. It's not set up to be fair. You know, and I'm not crying about nothing about what I'm doing. I'm facing just the elements of what it is to be locked up in Texas. They got an injustice that continue to go on that stay hiding young men of color for decades in prison, and we shouldn't be doing that. You know, the administration in Texas that's in that and that have the control of the prison system, it's like this. It's broken. It's a broken system. The system has been broken for a long time. It's time for it to be fixed. But how do you fix that? You go about fixing that. You fix it with the legislation. You fix it with the congressmen that you got in there. They got these bills that they put up for justice reform, but they don't want to do it for some reason. California stops everything when it comes to justice reform and anything. And Texas usually follows, but Texas is its own monster. It's been doing it for a long time.
You know, I heard that California, a lot of states follow after California. Colorado is another state that follow after California laws.
They got more. California's such things because you start getting credit, good time credit for your time now. Well, Colorado do that. They give you credit on your time and stuff. Texas, you're making this. All the jobs that you have in Texas, when it comes to the industrial aspect of it, you got to remember, prison is a corporation. It's a thing that serves. How can we access the most money out of getting so we can make profit? So we can make some kind of incentive for the investors that's in this industry, because prison is on the stock market. Everything about prison is on the stock market. You're making your furniture, you got food, you're growing your agriculture with the cows and the pigs, the chickens. It's a business. You got the uniforms, you got bath towels, the motels that they selling, that they make in prison and they selling to the motels in the world. You know, everything that they got going on is utilizing. So the security tablets, everything from the movies, the content, the videos, and now they come out where you can have FaceTime. But they're gonna pay you charging me a minute, but we don't know what the charge is gonna be yet for it to be FaceTime. It's always how can we squeeze more money out of the family? You know, we paying for everything. Video visits, you pay, you know. And even if the family comes down here to visit you, they paying up the vending machines and all that stuff. They paying for the expensive gas right now. It's a cost on everything, you know. Prison is the only one benefiting. They're getting their pockets fat. There's no difference. Our families already is you know, been taken advantage of with the court system all the way to the prison system. Prison the pipeline. What is it? It's about to make money. How can we get money? You know.
Okay, you know, I have a question for you, and I think everybody would like to know. You know, a lot of people that I had seen on Facebook on the other side that agree with the verdict that came down, and they're wishing harm against Carmelo, why he, you know, hoping that something happens to him. Can you tell us, or will he be protected, or you know, what would they let someone that have harm against, you know, have something out for him get near him?
And he's not, ain't nothing gonna happen to him. He's not gonna. Only thing Carmelo got to do is go in and align himself just to him. Don't be involved in none of the gang stuff. Don't get involved in none of the prison lifestyle, the culture. Because, you know, prison has its own culture. As long as he go in there, he can still get his education. He can still pursue part of his dream, and he can come out a better man. But he got to have a mentor. He got to have someone that he can fall into that's going to help him get a path to stay on the right foot. Don't get involved with people that's going to take advantage of him. Because you got guys here that predators. You got predators that's in here, young. If you can't fight, if you can't defend yourself, yes, you got predators. You know, you got people that goes after certain individuals if they feel like take advantage of it. But you got a lot of people in here that really they take up for people like him. And you know, he just got to be able to be having the right people to point him in the right direction. He can come out to be a stronger and better man, you know. But it's up on what he invests in himself while he's in prison. You got to be willing to invest in yourself. You got to be willing to want to be better and not to come out worse. Because, like you said, prison is his own university. And it's his own. You can be whatever you want to be in here, but you gotta put forth whatever foot you don't put forward inside the direction that you type individual that you want to become. Yeah, that's how I would tell anyone. If I talk to a young like Carmelo, I would tell him first of all, and I tell his family, find something positive in the education department. He can still go to college, get his degree. He still, and after that, he can still get a trade. You know, find something to keep busy in the positive side. You know, stay away from gambling, stay away from gang members, stay away from the drugs, stay away from the homosexuality. And I mean, to say that, but it's a lot of AIDS and stuff in here. And there's a lot of unsafe practice sex going on in prison, which is still going to affect society when these individuals come out and they try to get a female woman, because you're not telling them activities that you're doing in prison. There's a lot of unsafe stuff in here, you know. So it's just, you got to. I mean, and don't take my statement the wrong way when I say it like that. I'm nowhere prejudice against any individual. That lifestyle and the trans lifestyle is here. It's always going to be here. It's in my family. It's all that. I love my family members that's in the lifestyle, and I'm not going to never deny them the love that I have for them. And it's still, I got a lot of friends that still, you know, that's still in that lifestyle, but it's not going to make you be a part of, you don't want to be a part of that type of stuff, you know? But you got to go in there, you got to walk a certain walk in there. Man, you going to become, you got to walk into that moment, you know? You can come out shining in here. And you just got to know who you align yourself with. You got to align yourself with like-minded people. You say, be better, do better. You can get better.
Well, okay then.
I just want Camilla just to stay away from doing anything. Don't get lost in. Don't get depressed because you got the time. Don't follow in the drugs because people will try to they try to push upon him and use drugs. Hey man, just to help you escape. Hey man, do this, man. I've seen too many people die there. You know, last year over 28 people died on my because of K2 drugs. It's killing people. They need to find a solution to stop the guards from bringing the drugs to the prison. They need to find a solution to stop bringing the cell phones to the prison. It's a hustle game. Anywhere from $2,000, $3,000 for a cell phone. The K2 is killing too many youngsters in here. These youngsters get involved in drugs. These drugs are killing. I see too many of them that are associated with and being around, and now they're dead. And then they telling them that they died on the way to the hospital when they was already dead in the first place. I see one young man that's out of Houston that I really talk to a lot. I'm in the infirmary. They got it on a Friday. They kept in that infirmary until a Sunday until they got him away. They said they was trying to save him. He was already dead when they brought him in. He's been dead for hours. Guys on the court knew he was dead for some hours. But nobody told the guards that this man was having problems. And seeing him die, and he died. I seen guys that people die on their cars, they never go get no help and die sitting in the cubicle dead. There's another guy on the job. He's dead in the cubicle for 2 hours before somebody went in there and got help. And then you sit there watching TV like nothing never happened, nothing going on over there. They know this man was dead, but nobody went and got no help. Then somebody from another part went and got help, that the man is dead.
Wow.
There's how you say, there's a numbness and putting to individuals that struggle with addiction. With problems, and people will, and if you say something to go get help for them, they want to label you a snitch. If you go tell this man he's help, he's dying or he's dead, I had a guy that had a heart attack that was on the side of me. I don't know what made me get up and take time because I was watching a movie on my tablet. He told me that he was having problems. He was having pain on his left side and stuff. So he's up and go to sleep, basically. He said, just can you look at me and just make sure I'm all right? I said, yeah, I will. So about an hour later, I get up. I look at him, he's all right. But when I come back from getting water and I look at him, he's flopping like a fish. And I said, I called his name. I said, you okay, man? You okay? I went into his cubicle and I see him turning purple and I see he was struggling to breathe. So I hollered for another friend of mine. I said, maybe go hit the guard, tell him get the infirmary, tell him to bring the defibrillator. I believe my friend, I said his name. I said, I believe he had a heart attack. I said, get him. And I watched this man, and I'm looking at him, and his tears just roll out the corner of his left eye. And then he exhaled, and it's like I see like smoke or shadow something come up out of his body. And I said, oh, hell no. And I hit him hard in his chest, and I went to start getting the CPR, and I'm hollering for somebody to help me to bring him back. I said, man, I need somebody else to come help me, man. I said, I'm messed up right now, man. I said, I just watched him die, man. I said his name. I said, he died on me, man. Somebody come help me get him CPR. And then these field ministers and people that's supposed to help me, they telling me, take it, get out of there. They're going to give you the case of being there. If he's dead and you in there, they're going to write you up. I said, shut up and quit talking to me. I said, I'm trying to save my friend. Leave me alone. And it's in another a peer educator came over there. He started helping me giving him CPR, and I just felt so spit, and I was so shocked by what I witnessed right there. And then, the panic. He didn't really know how to do the CPR. We basically told him get out the way. We grabbed him. We put him on a court. The other, you had two inmates in the front, and I'm in the back. And the guy took over for me with the CPR. He did some CPR, but then he jumped back. He came back, but he gasped for air. So we take off running outside of the dorm trying to meet the medical staff. So when we running out the door, the medical staff was coming in. They had the defibrillator and stuff. They put the oxygen on them, and they took over. But you got people that so numb, they feel like that if you're even helping assist somebody trying to save their life, that you're going to get in trouble for it. And it just sounds so stupid to me when you see someone that you've been friends with for years, because I've been knowing this man since 2012, and that we're friends. But just because you think you're healthy, you may not be healthy. This man work out every day or every other day. He's always doing exercise. But clogged arteries in his heart. Two of his main arteries in his heart. He had a major heart attack.
Yeah.
But this is the kicker part about it. This is the kicker part about it.
What's the killing part?
Oxygen for 20 minutes. For 20 minutes he went without oxygen. But he came back with full. God was with this man.
Yes, he was.
He talked, he had no comment on.
So on this note, I just, I wanna because we way over our time. And I just want to thank you, Casey, so much for joining me on tonight, and Angela for popping in on us and stuff and getting out some questions. My question is for everyone: what do we do? How do we tell our young brown and black children how do we tell them to walk away, or do we tell them to stand their ground? And we heard what Casey thought on it. My personal belief is that I don't want my grandchildren to bow down to no man, because we're not supposed to bow to man. The only man they're going to bow to is their heavenly Father. And if I'm wrong in that instance, then hey, so we're not bowing, because they're not inferior, or they're not more than our children. And that's what's going on now. I'm seeing a lot of different ethnic groups approaching our young black men and women. Parents, it starts in the house. You have to teach your children that everybody is not going to allow them in their space, and they shouldn't be in nobody else's space. That's it. That's it and all. Stay out of people spaces, because some of these children are being taught to hit back, defend themselves. Casey, do you have anything to say? Any last words? Angela, do you have any last words?
I got one thing. This is what I want to say. History. Martin Luther King had a vision and dream for America. We were heading in that direction. But now America is reversing back to where we have grown, supposed to have seemed to be. It's like the racial violence being put into the consciousness of Americans. We need to look at what it is, what other country is. Being American, you're supposed to, it's a bunch of ethnicity type of groups in there. That's what it made. It's made on immigrants. That's the background of our country. But yet and still, we still want to imply this consciousness of racism into our society, into our kids and stuff like this. Why can't we just love one another and be brothers like we're supposed to be and be countrymen instead of being separated? It's a God. You keep us separated and divided, and we can't really address the issues that's going on with the business that's going on in America today. Inflation, the money that's being pulled up out of here, the middle class is struggling. When are we going to start investing back into our country, into our people, and the beauty of what we're supposed to be as a nation? Let's just be Americans. Let's just love one another, be each other brothers, and stop pushing this separation between our kids and the racism, though. We need to kill the racism. That's how we need to be attacked. We attack the racism and become brothers amongst each other. Brothers and sisters, love one another. That's what God wants us to do. He said, love thy neighbor as you love thyself. When are we loving our neighbors? Is what we're doing today. And I pray God that he that young brother that just got locked up and put in prison. And I pray for his family on both sides.
Angela, you have something? It's okay.
Yeah. So, we have done everything that they've asked. We have turned the right cheek, we turned the left cheek. This world was built on our backs. We not still indoctrinated. We're not still what they told us to do. We did. They told us to go to school, get an education, better ourselves, and we did that. But yet they still want to treat us like second class citizens. They still want to keep us in the world. They want to regress us instead of progressing us. This world was founded on our forefathers' backs. Everything that was invented and created was created through us. They would not be where they are today if it was not for us. But one thing we are not our ancestors. They taught us well. The prayers and the faith that they had, it has allowed us to be able to be the people that we are today. We will not back down. We will not sit down. We will not allow this to continue. Yeah, I love my brothers and sisters because I don't see race. Because my family is a diverse family. But one thing I will not accept is people wanting to treat us less than what we are. Treat us like humans, and you won't have to look at color. If everybody is treated like human beings, we would never see color. But we see that it's not happening because people want to control us. People want to do whatever they want to do to better themselves and to keep themselves in a place. But we, of course, know, Shanette, that it's more than about color. This is a spiritual thing and it's spiritual warfare. But guess what? We ready for it. We ready for it because God said he will equip us. He will equip us, and that's what he has. So guess what? We ain't backing down. We will not sit down and we will not allow this to continue because we've prayed for change. We've prayed for change. And sometimes change ain't the way we think it's going to be. It ain't always going to be easy. Sometimes you got to go through some things in order for God to really allow things to happen. Sometimes he had to shake some things up in order for him to move. I trust him, I believe him, and I know that he's yet moving. So I stand on his word. I stand on his word. And I know that Carmelo Anthony will not serve 35 years. He'll be home soon. He'll be home soon. And this is going to show this is going to show the world. This is going to show the world that we're not playing anymore. We're not allowing y'all to continue to control the narrative. The world is watching. And the world now sees we're not sitting down no more.
Thank you. I appreciate you and Casey. And Angela says some powerful things. This is spiritual warfare. We have to put on our armor. And a lot of people are armored up. Physical. I'm talking about as in the spiritual warfare. I'm not talking about the other stuff. Because we see this in the spirit. We're going to fight this in the spirit, and we're going to continuously hold on to God's word. We're going to stand flat footed on his word because he's not a man he can lie. And his promises is going to manifest. Carmelo will not do 35 years. He will be home soon. World, sit back. This is only the beginning. I'm going to leave you with this. A system that cannot admit when it's wrong is always punishing the innocents. This is Let's Talk About It, and I am not done talking about it. I'll see you guys soon. Stay blessed and stay safe.
Love you, ladies. Y'all take care.
You two, give me a call before they leave, before you transfer to another unit, please. And try to call me, collect, because I know I have some money on.
A cry in the night. There's a voice that needs a platform. There's a fight for what's right. Shanette W. Johnson on the mic, speaking truth today. For the hurting and the healing, she makes a way. Justice in the room, healing in the line, purpose in the pain, every word aligned, breaking every silence, calling every name. When she said, let's talk about it, nothing stays the same. Let's talk about it, bring it to light. Shanette W. Johnson, speak